Assalamu alaikum dear students. Hope you all are doing well. This is a summary of Zoom online class lecture and the subject is social studies. In the previous class we have started our new chapter and that was ancient invaders. We have read about the Aryans, the Dravidians, the caste system introduced by the Aryans. The Aryans worshipped the science of nature and the language Sanskrit. Today we will read about the Persians. The Persians were the people from the Persia, which is in the modern day, which is known as Iran. The Persia became a warlike nation in the 6th century. They captured a huge empire which stretched from the Greece and Egypt in the west to northwestern India. In this image you can see how they spread or how they stretched their empire from Greece to Egypt from the to the west and the northern part of the India. Here we are having another image of the Persian Empire. All this yellow color shows the Persian Empire about 520 BC. They also conquered the Gandhara kingdom. The Gandhara kingdom is the name of the ancient kingdom located in the modern day northern Pakistan and the parts of Afghanistan. And Texla was one of the city of the Gandhara civilization which is still there in Pakistan. And they made their capital in the subcontinent at Texla, which later became a great center of art and learning. Art and learning means the different subjects were learned there by the students, and the art means fun. We are having the different artists, the poets. They were also, so the Texla became the center of the art and learning. In this picture you can see how the Persians introduced and they flourished the art and learning in Texla. They also brought the new ideas with them. The new and the important ideas. The number one was the use of the money. Okay, they introduced how to use the money and how to make the new buildings and the new ways of the buildings. And they also learned from the Aryans. The Persians learned from the Aryans about the medicine because they didn't have any knowledge about the medicine, so they learned about the medicines from the Aryans and how to make good steel, which was extremely expensive. And this steel is mainly used for manufacturing of the better weapons. The better weapons means अच्छी किस्म के का असला बनाया जाता था, अच्छे किस्म का के weapons बनाए जाते थे with the steel, with the good quality of steel. The Persians also introduced the new irrigation schemes. Irrigation means apashi के तरीके, apashi की schemes भी इन्होंने introduce की, which was helpful for the agriculture. But with the passage of time, as most of the empires became weak, so they also too grew weak after some years in power. Here we are having the images of the how they learned about or how they work out about the medicines and how they learned about the medicines from the Aryans. These are the images of the Persian weapons which were made of steel and how they were used in the wars. Here we are having the image of the different irrigation systems. Okay, they introduced the new irrigation schemes or the new irrigation systems for good agriculture. Now we are having the Alexander and the Greeks. After the Persians, we were having the Alexander and the Greeks. Okay, Alexander is also known as in Urdu को जो है तो सिकंदर आज़म के नाम से भी पहचाना जाता है. And he became the king of the Macedon. ये मैसेडोन का किंग बना आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ हिज फादर, एंड हिज फादर नेम was Philip and who was murdered in 336. And when he became the king of the Macedon, he was only 20 years old, but he was a brilliant soldier and a leader, and he was well educated as his father had groomed him thoroughly for the kingship. कि इसके फादर ने जो है तो इसको बचपन से ही ग्रूम किया, तरबियत दी थी फॉर अ गुड किंगशिप के लिए, अच्छी बादशाहत की जो है तो उसने उसको बचपन से ही ट्रेनिंग दी थी. अलेक्जेंडर रूल्ड फॉर 13 ईयर्स. इसका जो रूलिंग पीरियड था दैट वाज 13 ईयर्स. एक्चुअली ही वांटेड टू कॉन्कर द होल वर्ल्ड, वो पूरी दुनिया को फतह करना चाहता था, और इस मकसद के लिए उसने कॉन्कर किया द पर्शियन एम्पायर फ्रॉम द इजिप्ट टू व्हाट इज़ नाउ पाकिस्तान. The whole of the Persian Empire and the area what is now Pakistan, it was under the control of the Alexander, and he also had a great battle on the river Jhelum with a well-known king of Punjab, the King पोरस. ठीक है, किंग पोरस के साथ इसकी जो है तो एक बहुत ग्रेट बैटल जो है तो वो याद की जाती है, एंड इन विच ही कैप्चर्ड द किंग पोरस एंड टेकन टू अलेक्जेंडर. जब किंग पोरस को कैप्चर किया गया, गिरफ्तार करके अलेक्जेंडर के सामने पेश किया गया, एंड हु सो एडमायर्ड द किंग्स ब्रेवरी. पोरस ने अलेक्जेंडर की ब्रेवरी को इतना एडमायर किया, इतनी उसकी तारीफ़ की, दैट ही रिलीज्ड हिम, उसने उसको जो है तो रिहा कर दिया, एंड रिटर्नड हिज किंगडम, और उसकी किंगडम भी जो उसने कैप्चर की थी अलेक्जेंडर ने, वो भी वापस कर दी. नाउ हु वाज द किंग पोरस? द किंग पोरस वाज एन इंडियन किंग. His territory spanned the region between the Jhelum River to Chenab River. रिवर झेलम और चनाब के बीच में जितना भी एरिया आता था, दैट वाज द टेरिटरी ऑफ द किंग पोरस, एंड ही वाज एन इंडियन किंग. ही वाज आल्सो नोन एज अ लेजेंडरी वॉरियर विद एक्सेप्शनल स्किल्स. उसके अपने ही वॉरियर की, अपने जंग करने का जो है तो अपने उसके डिफरेंट जो है तो स्किल्स थे, जो कि वो अपने वॉर्स में यूज़ करता था. One of the skill was that he used elephants in the war. Okay, he also used elephants in the wars, which was also a big problem for the Alexander. जो कि Alexander के लिए भी एक problem था, उसकी army के लिए भी एक problem था, because they were terrified of the elephants. जब वो first time जो है तो Alexander की army ने elephants को war में देखा, so they became terrified. The elephants were the tanks of the ancient world. The men stood in a closely packed group with their 5 to 6 meter long spears. They put one end of the spear on the ground and held it in place by their feet. The sharp end was held out in front. The elephants could not get near the soldiers without running into the spears. Other soldiers rushed up with daggers and cut the Achilles tendon of the elephants so that their legs collapsed. ठीक है, उनकी लेग्स के ऊपर जो है तो मारा जाता था, ताकि वो जो है तो आसानी से एलिफेंट्स जो हैं तो वो गिर सकें. स्पेयर्स का मतलब होता है नेज़ों के साथ. ठीक है, शार्प एजेस होते हैं उनके, उनके साथ उनके लेग्स के ऊपर ऐसे कट लगाए जाते थे, जिससे जो है तो एलिफेंट जो है तो वो ज़मीन पर गिर जाते थे. Alexander now wanted to march eastwards to what was believed to be edge of the world. ठीक है, जैसे कि अलेक्जेंडर का एम था कि वो पूरी दुनिया को फतह करना चाहता था. आफ्टर द बैटल ऑफ विद द किंग पोरस, ही डिसाइडेड टू मार्च ईस्ट वर्ड्स. उसका इरादा ये हुआ कि वो ईस्ट वर्ड्स की तरफ जो है तो उसने जाने का इरादा किया. हिज सोल्जर्स हाउएवर थाउजेंड्स ऑफ द किलोमीटर्स फ्रॉम देयर होम्स इन ग्रीस रिफ्यूज टू ओबे फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. ये फर्स्ट टाइम था कि ग्रीस से आए हुए तमाम इसके सोल्जर्स ने जो है तो किंग को, अलेक्जेंडर को रिफ्यूज़ किया था कि हम मज़ीद आगे नहीं जाते. अलेक्जेंडर वॉज फोर्स टू गो बैक टू पर्शिया, हाफ his army crossing the terrible Makran desert and the other half going by the sea. ठीक है, उसकी जो मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द आर्मी थी, ही वांटेड टू गो बैक टू द पर्शिया. बैक इन पर्शिया, व्हेन अलेक्जेंडर बैक टू पर्शिया, वो जब पर्शिया वापस गया, द अलेक्जेंडर बिगेन टू मेक फ्रेश प्लान्स. अब अलेक्जेंडर का ये इरादा था, वो नए प्लान्स बना रहा था टू कॉन्कर द वर्ल्ड, बट ही फेल सिक. वो इतना शदीद बीमार हो गया दैट ही डाइड एट द एज ऑफ व्हेन ही वाज ओनली 33 years old. His great empire broke into 3 parts after his death, each ruled by one of his generals. उसके बाद उसके different generals ने जो है तो उसकी empire को rule किया. I hope you have understood the lecture. Till the next class, Allah Hafiz.